Did you know that Mexico's economy is growing so fast, it's poised to rival some of the world's biggest powers? But here's the twist. This transformation could also spell disaster. What's really happening behind the scenes? Let's find out. Welcome back to our channel, the place where we explore the hidden truths and mind-blowing stories of our world. Today we're diving into Mexico, a country celebrated for its rich culture, jaw-dropping landscapes, and incredible cuisine. But beneath the surface lies a story of staggering inequality, ambitious growth, and controversial plans that could either catapult Mexico into first-world status or lead to its downfall. Stick around, you don't want to miss this. Part 1, A Tale of Two Mexicos. Imagine a country where one region boasts living standards comparable to France, while another struggles with conditions akin to Bangladesh. That's Mexico. A nation where wealth is unevenly distributed across its vibrant landscape. Take the Yucatan Peninsula, for example. Its thriving tourism and business hubs make it a beacon of prosperity. But just 430 kilometers away, Chiapas grapples with extreme poverty. This jarring disparity isn't new. It's deeply rooted in Mexico's history, fueling social unrest and even revolutions. Here's a shocking fact. Despite being the 12th largest economy in the world, 1 in 3 Mexicans still lives in poverty. How is that even possible? The answer lies in a combination of historical inequities, political corruption, and systemic inefficiencies. For centuries, Mexico's wealth has been concentrated in the hands of a few. During colonial times, Spanish elites controlled vast swathes of land, leaving indigenous communities and rural populations impoverished. Fast forward to today, and the echoes of this inequality are still evident. Northern Mexico, with its proximity to the United States, has become an economic powerhouse, while southern states like Oaxaca and Chiapas remain trapped in cycles of poverty. Let's take a trip to Monterrey, one of Mexico's wealthiest cities. Picture the glittering skyscrapers, bustling tech hubs, and luxury shopping malls. Now contrast that with a small village in Chiapas, where families struggle to access clean water, healthcare, and education. This stark divide feels like two different worlds existing within the same country. If inequality has plagued Mexico for centuries, what's being done to change it now? Let's dig deeper. Part 2, A bold plan for transformation. Fast forward to today, and Mexico's government has a plan to turn the tide. Picture this. Tens of billions of dollars invested in railroads, highways, seaports, and industrial zones. The goal? To transform Mexico into a global economic powerhouse. One of the most ambitious projects is the Transisthmian Corridor in Oaxaca and Veracruz. Spanning over 300 kilometers, this corridor links the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans, offering an alternative to the Panama Canal. While it won't be faster, it could prove more reliable, as the Panama Canal faces challenges like drought-induced low water levels. The corridor is part of a broader strategy called nearshoring, which involves relocating supply chains closer to North America. As tensions rise between the United States and China, Mexico's geographic advantage and trade agreements make it a prime destination for industries looking to avoid tariffs and logistical bottlenecks. Along the corridor, 10 industrial parks are being built to attract major industries like electronics, automotive, and pharmaceuticals. Companies such as Tesla, BYD, and Dell have already announced plans to establish operations in Mexico. These investments are expected to create hundreds of thousands of jobs, particularly in underdeveloped regions. Imagine a family in Oaxaca, whose livelihood depends on traditional farming. For generations, they've struggled to make ends meet. But with the arrival of new factories and training programs, their children now have the chance to work in high-tech industries, earning wages that were once unimaginable. However, this transformation isn't without challenges. Building infrastructure on such a massive scale requires coordination across federal, state, and local governments, something Mexico has historically struggled with. Additionally, indigenous communities and environmental activists have raised concerns about the impact of these projects on ecosystems and cultural heritage. But with big ambitions come big risks. Could this project end in failure like so many before it? Stay tuned. Part 3. The risks and controversies. Of course, no transformation comes without challenges. Mexico's long-standing issues with organized crime and political instability pose significant threats. Just last year, the government had to deploy 1,000 soldiers to secure a key railway. Can you imagine the stakes if this corridor falls into the wrong hands? Organized crime syndicates in Mexico often target infrastructure projects, seeking control or imposing illegal taxes. In some cases, they sabotage operations to maintain influence over local communities. The Transisthmian Corridor, with its promise of economic activity, could become a tempting target. Ensuring its security will require not just military force, but also community engagement to build trust and cooperation. Then there's the environmental cost. The corridor cuts through sensitive ecosystems and indigenous lands, sparking protests and resistance. Local communities worry about deforestation, water pollution, and disruption of wildlife habitats. Activists argue that these impacts could outweigh the economic benefits if not managed responsibly. One particularly controversial issue is the rise in local costs. When Tesla announced plans for a factory in Nuevo León, prices for construction materials like cement and steel surged by 25%. Real estate prices also skyrocketed, and wages increased by 20%. While this boosts local incomes, it risks making Mexico less competitive in the long run. Small businesses, which often rely on affordable local resources, could face challenges as costs rise. Let's return to the village in Oaxaca. As factories and industrial parks spring up, the cost of living rises. Families who once survived on modest incomes now find it harder to afford basic necessities. Meanwhile, younger generations feel torn between staying to support their families or moving to cities for better opportunities. The very development meant to uplift them threatens to push them further behind. Another risk lies in political instability. Mexico has a history of sudden policy changes and corruption scandals that deter foreign investors. The success of the Transisthmian Corridor hinges on long-term commitment and transparency from the government, something that has proven challenging in the past. So, is Mexico on the verge of an economic miracle or a financial disaster? The next part will blow your mind. Part 4. The global impact. Mexico's transformation isn't happening in isolation. It's directly tied to the global shift in supply chains. The US-China trade war has led many companies to embrace nearshoring, moving operations closer to home. Mexico, with its proximity to the US and favorable trade agreements, stands to gain big. Consider this. In early 2024, Mexico overtook China to become the top supplier of goods to the United States. Companies like Tesla, BYD, and Dell are setting up facilities, bringing jobs and investment. In fact, foreign investment in the first half of 2024 hit a record $31 billion. This shift isn't just about geography, it's about resilience. Recent global disruptions, from pandemics to natural disasters, have exposed the vulnerabilities of long supply chains. By nearshoring to Mexico, companies can reduce risks, improve efficiency, and meet consumer demands faster. Picture a bustling factory in Monterrey, where Mexican workers assemble cutting-edge electric vehicles destined for American roads. These aren't just jobs, they're opportunities to learn new skills and climb the economic ladder. Workers who once depended on agriculture are now part of a high-tech supply chain that spans continents. But this transformation raises a critical question. Will the benefits be shared equally? Many fear that wealth generated by nearshoring will remain concentrated in northern industrial hubs, leaving southern regions behind. To address this, the government has promised to invest heavily in infrastructure and education in underserved areas. Will this newfound prosperity truly reach everyone, or will it deepen existing inequalities? Let's wrap it up. Mexico is at a crossroads. With bold investments and strategic planning, it could redefine its future and emerge as a global leader. But the road ahead is fraught with challenges, from inequality and crime to environmental concerns. The question is, can Mexico overcome these hurdles and achieve true prosperity? If you found this story fascinating, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Let us know in the comments. What do you think about Mexico's transformation? And stay tuned for our next video, where we'll uncover another untold story of a nation on the brink of change. See you soon.